Good morning. Just a really quick video this morning talking about how to activate your PlayStation 4 as your primary PlayStation 4. Now, if you've only got one PlayStation 4, then it should have been automatically set up as your primary when you first set up your PlayStation Network and all that kind of stuff. So you shouldn't need to do this, but it may be worth going back and checking because you could run into some issues if it's not set that way. The primary issue is that if it's not set as your primary PS4, you could end up in a situation where you can lose save games because your primary PS4 will automatically save your save games to the cloud, whereas any PlayStation that isn't set as your primary PlayStation will not automatically save your save games to the cloud. So it's a good way of automatically backing up those saves. If you play a lot, then it could save you bacon. The other main thing for me is that if you set up your account or your PlayStation as your primary PlayStation, then other people using that PlayStation can also use the games that you've downloaded. So for instance, I've set up a kid's account on my PlayStation and my son can go in and he can play the games that I've downloaded within, the restrictions I've set up for him. So those are the two main things for me. There are other things that you need to know about as well. I'm not going to go into those here, but I will put a link into the website so that you can read through and look at the advantages you get from setting your PlayStation as your primary PS4. First things first though, let's just quickly look at what happens if you've not got your PlayStation set up as your primary PS4. So I've got Fortnite here and I'm actually set up with my kid test account, which is a sort of test account for a kid. And I'm going to try and go into Fortnite. So if we do that, and it'll try and load, and then it'll say this. It says, cannot use the content. Only the following users who hold a license for this content can use it. If you want to use the content, purchase it from the PlayStation Store. Now, the reason it's saying this is because this PlayStation isn't currently set as my primary PlayStation. So what I need to do is I need to OK that, go back to the desktop, and now I need to switch out of this account in order to go and set my PlayStation as my primary. So the main account holder needs to have the PlayStation as their primary. Hope that's clear. It wouldn't be the secondary account which I'm on here, it would be my primary account. So what you do is you hit the PlayStation button and hold it. And you go to power and switch user. And I'm the main holder, Joe Chip, so I'm going to click on that. This is my PlayStation. So once you've got into this as your primary account, then you would go into settings. And then you go to account management. And then if you look down near the bottom, one up from the bottom, you've got activate as your primary PS4. So I'll click on that now. And you get the option to activate. Now, just to reiterate, if you've only got one PlayStation 4, you should automatically have this set up as your primary. But if you want to set up a second PlayStation as your primary, then this is what you need to do. So click on activate and it says here, currently you have another PS4 activated as your primary PS4. Do you want to change your primary PS4 to this one? If you activate this PS4, everyone who uses it will be able to play the games you buy from the PlayStation Store, which is what I said earlier. Now, the other thing that they're not saying here is that if you activate this PlayStation as your primary PlayStation 4, the other PlayStation won't be able to allow other users to use those games that you've downloaded. So you can only set this up for one PlayStation. So if you've got more than one, it can be an issue. And I've run into this. Now, there are ways around it and you can share accounts and various other things, but that's beyond the scope of this video. I would actually, though, prefer if PlayStation and Xbox as well, because they have this issue, would allow you to have like a family account where you can share across, 3 or 4 consoles. That would solve a lot of these problems where you get people logging off and logging on when you're trying to use more than one console at once. But for the time being, as I say, that's beyond the scope of this video. Let's just change this PlayStation 4 to your primary. So click on Change to this PS4. And it's now activated. This is my primary PS4. So if we go back to the desktop now, it's not showing everything up properly, and I would need to reboot for that for some reason. I don't know why, but that's been giving me a bit of a hassle this morning. But we are now set up with this as my primary. So if I log out now and I go into Switch User, so if you remember how we did that, we held the PlayStation button down until it brings up this menu, and then you go over to Switch User. And then if I switch over to my test account, now from here, if I find Fortnite, which was what I tried to get into before, now I've set this as my primary PS4, I should be able to go into the game because it's the game that I downloaded, and so the second account should be able to use it. And as you can see, it's starting to load up. And it should take us all the way to the point at which we have to put in a Epic login account, which I haven't got for this account as yet. So as you can see, it's loading up this time. I'm not going to go all the way through that process, but you can see that this game is loading perfectly well. And basically that's the major advantage you get. As I say, there are others. But I just wanted to show you how you could go in and set up, your PlayStation as your primary, and talk a little bit about why that was important. Hopefully that's some use to somebody. If you're maybe thinking of buying a second PlayStation 4, you may want to look into doing this. But anyway, just thought it might be of some use to somebody. And yeah, that's me done. Speak to you in the next one. Bye.